Hello, in this video, I want to go through all the cards that I would include if I was going to build an Eirdu Carrier of Dawn / Isilu Carrier of Twilight Commander deck, focused on cheating out a bunch of creatures and a sacrifice deck. So, on one side, Eirdu says Flying Lifelink 5/5, it gives creature spells we control Convoke, which is great in our tokens deck. And at the beginning of our first main phase, we may pay black to do Transformant. The Carrier of Twilight is a Flying Lifelink 5/5 that gives each other non-token creature we control Persist. And at the beginning of our first main phase, we can pay a white to transform back. Really, I think we're going to want to be on the Carrier of Twilight more often. Altar of Dementia is a sacrifice outlet that says target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. And there are infinite combos we can do with this deck that involve, because all of our creatures have Persist, any kind of creatures that enter with a +1/+1 counter, or they get a +1/+1 counter when they enter, such as Undying creatures, would enter, get the -1, and they have the +1, it would remove them, and now you just have a base creature again. Sacrifice it to the altar, it comes back with Persist and +1/+1. You can do that infinitely. Anguish Unmaking exiles a non-land permanent you lose 3 life, but it's good removal in our colors. Arcane Signet is a good way to ramp on our colors, and Astronaut's Altar is another sacrifice outlet that adds mana. Bastion of Remembrance is a way to win with our infinite loops. For 3 mana, it's an enchantment that says when this enchantment enters, you create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So the creature, you sacrifice it, comes back, Persist, Undying, removes the counters, and then it dies again. Every time each opponent loses a life and you gain a life, which is a way to win. Bitter Bloom Bear gives us a 1/1 that we can sacrifice to our sacrifice outlets each turn. Bitter Blossom, same thing. These are also both good to tap to use Convoke to cast our creature spells. Blackmark Connection ramps us, draws us cards, and then makes shapeshifters. Again, we can sacrifice those to our sacrifice outlets, and it gives us treasures. Blood Artist, whenever this or another creature dies, target player loses a life and you gain a life. That counts anyone's creatures, including your opponent's, but in our deck, our sacrifice-based deck, it's a way to drain and gain our life. Butcher Ghoul is an Undying creature. If it dies and had no +1/+1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield. It gets a -1/-1 counter from the Persist trigger, and it gets a +1/+1 from the Undying trigger. Game-based actions, get rid of the +1 and the -1. Now you just have a base 1/1 again, which you can sacrifice to all of your outlets again. Carrion Feeder is another sacrifice outlet that can also die to our sacrifice triggers. Cathar's Crusade, when the creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Then you can have one creature coming back and sacrificing with Persist and removing and getting those counters, while all of your other creatures get infinitely big. Charismatic Conqueror is white and a 1 for a 2/2 Vigilance. Whenever an artifact or creature enters untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you create a 1/1 white vampire creature token lifelink. You can sacrifice those to your sacrifice outlets, or you can use them to cast Convoke. Corpse Knight is 2 mana for a 2/2. When another creature enters under your control, each opponent loses a life. Another way to take advantage of our infinite loop. Cruel Celebrant, same thing. Whenever it or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. Dam destroys a creature. Overloaded Dam, pronounced Dam, destroys all creatures. Dark Ritual can help us get our combo pieces out faster. Deadly Dispute as additional cost to cast this spell, sack an artifact or creature. Good on our sacrifice deck. Draw 2 cards, create a treasure. Diabolic Intent, we're a sacrifice-based deck, so let's sacrifice the creature to get any card we need. Ilas Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim, is a 1 white and 1 black for a 2/2 with Death Touch. Whenever another creature enters under your control, you gain a life. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Good in our sacrifice-based deck. Ilanda the Dusk Rose is 4 mana for a 1/1. It has lifelink. When another creature dies, put a +1/+ counter on it. Whenever it dies, create X 1/1 white creature tokens with lifelink or X its power. So you're doing your loops, which gives you a ton of +1/+1 counters on this. Then you can sacrifice it to make a bunch of 1/1s. You can sacrifice to all of your effects, or if anything, whenever those creatures enter or dies, you get those triggers. Esper Sentinel, just a good card. Fel the Profane, on one side is an instant that destroys a creature or planeswalker. On the back side, it's just a bat swamp. It's a great place to be. Generous Gift destroys any target permanent. Replaces it with a 3/3. Who cares? Give him the 3/3. Geralf's Messenger is black for a 3/2. It enters tapped, but when it enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life and has Undying. This is, your Blood Artist on a stick. Now you just have to have Isilu, Carrier of Twilight, Geralf's Messenger, and then a sacrifice outlet, and you can go infinite, which is great. Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Whenever it enters, each opponent loses X life, and you loses X life, and you gain that much life, where X is your devotion to black. tons of great ways to take advantage of that. You can give this Persist and sacrifice it to your things, and it comes back with -1 counter. If you have a way to put a +++ counter on it, this can also be the thing that deals damage. You can just loop this. Grim Haruspex. It's 3 mana for a 3/2 with Morph. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, draw a card. Great in our sacrifice deck. Ink Shield prevents all combat damage we dealt this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. So this can they attack you hardcore, or you attack your opponent to prevent all the combat damage we dealt to you. You get a bunch of 2/1s, you sacrifice them to sacrifice outlets, and that's another bunch of instances of damage from your sacrifice outlets. Lightning Greaves can give protection to our commander, which is important. Lotho Corrupt Sheriff is white-black for a 2/1. When a player casts their second Splight's turn, you lose life, create a treasure. Good in the early game to get us to the point where we have enough mana to get all of our combo pieces in play. Luminous Broodmoth. Whenever another creature you control without flying dies, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. This is good with Solemnity that's in the deck that prevents counters from being put on things. Marinette Apprentice is 1 black and a 1 for a 1/2 with Fabricate 1. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses a life. Great card in this deck. Midnight Reaper. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, this creature does 1 damage to you and you draw a card. These, whenever something dies, draw a card, are important because you can start doing the combo without necessarily having a way to win yet and drawing the cards that you put a bunch of stuff in play. Machias, the Unhallowed, is 3 black for a 5/5 Intimidate. Whenever human deals damage to you, destroy it. Other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying. Now all your creatures have Undying, and all your creatures have Persist. You can just sacrifice them infinitely. Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more other creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Wurzhow's Signet, good way to ramp in our non-green deck. Path to Exile. Exiles a creature, and its controller may switch later for a basic land card, put into play tapped and shuffle. This has 2 purposes. 1, exile one of your opponent's things. The second one, and what I think I'm going to use it more likely, is you can exile your own token and get a basic land, which ramps you in your non-green colors. I think it's good. Yeah. Pawn of Ulamog is 3 mana for a 2/2. Whenever it or another non-token creature you control dies, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi creature token and has sacrificed this creature to add a colorless. This is important for many cards, but if you're doing your infinite combo with a non-token creature, which is what you have to do, it comes back and it gives you these spawns, and you're drawing cards off of it, trying to draw into your combo pieces. Phyrexian Altar, Altar of Dementia, and Ashnod's Altar all cost just colorless, so this can help you, if you have that in play, this can help you draw. The other cards can help you draw into it, but this can help you get their mana to cast it. Pitiless Plunder, but it's also another sacrifice. So if you're just sacrificing things, you have all your 0/1s, they can sacrifice them themselves to trigger and get that last Blood Artist death in. Phyrexian Altar is a way to sacrifice a creature to gain mana. Pitiless Plunder, whenever another creature controlled dies, create a treasure token. Great card. This even counts tokens that you have die, which includes sacrificing. Reanimate, just sticks something back into play and then helps you combo off that turn. Scholar of New Horizons is 1 and a white. It enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Tap, remove a counter from a permanent you control, search your library for a plains card and reveal it. If an opponent controls more lands than you, may put that card into the battlefield tapped. If you don't, put the card into the battlefield, put it into your hand, then shuffle. This can turn your -1/-1 counters into it, so they can die to Persist again, your +1/+1 counters for Undying, or your flying counters for the Ink Moth, or the Moth, I think it's called Moth, to turn into lands. And they can be non-basic planes as well. Seraph, Fabled Soldier, and the One-Winged Angel. Whenever it enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature when you draw a card. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's the 4th time it's resolved, it transforms. As it transforms, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses a life and you gain a life. That cannot be taken away from you. It's a great emblem. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures if you do draw that many cards. And then, of course, target opponent's going to lose that much life. Great card in our sacrifice decks. It's just another kind of Blood Artist effect. Skull Clamp can turn all Eldrazi spawns or other 1/1s into being able to draw 2 cards. Soul Ring, Solemn Simulacrum. It enters, gets a land, it dies, you may draw a card. Put this with Persist or Undying, and then you're in a great spot because you can just get all the basic lands out of your deck. You can draw a ton of cards. Does whatever you need it to do. In the early game, just gets lands. Solemnity. Players can't get counters, and counters can be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands. So if it dies and have no -1/-1 counters on it, it comes back, and it doesn't get the counter, but it comes back. Then the game goes Whenever it dies, it goes, oh, it's not wearing the -1/-1 counter. It comes back with that one. Great card. Sun Titan is 6 mana for a 6/6. When it enters or attacks, when you return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less favored to the battlefield. Plenty of our combo pieces have mana value 3 or less. Our Undying creatures do. Our Phyrexian altars do. Our Blood Artifacts do. You can just throw those into play and immediately get something back. And you can also convoke this out. Swords to Plowshares, exiles a creature, just need things gone. Talisman of Hierarchy, ramps you when you're not in green deck. The Meat Hook Massacre, whenever it enters, each creature gets -X/-X, important if we need to wipe the board, or you can just play it for 0. Whenever other creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain a life. It's a Blood Artist effect, so whenever one of our things dies, each opponent loses a life, attached to backup board wipe. Toxic Deluge, backup board wipe. Umbral Color Zealot, sacrifice another creature or artifact, surveil 1. Sacrifice Outlet. Victimize, choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, sack a creature. If you do, return the totem cards to the battlefield tapped. This can get you back 2 of your combo pieces and gives you a sacrifice trigger. Village Rites is an instant. If your opponents are going to destroy something or you set up a poor block, you can just sacrifice the creature to draw 2 cards. Viscera Seer. Sacrifice the creature Sky 1. Gotta have your really cheap sacrifice outlets. Vizier of Remedies. If one or more -1/-1 counters you put in a creature you control, put that many -1/-1 counters -1 instead. So it would enter with 1 counter, it gets 0. And then it can again go infinite. Warren Soul Trader, pay a life, sacrifice another creature, create a treasure token. This is a sacrifice out in the early game to get you to your treasure tokens. You can sacrifice those to your effects. Welcoming Vampire, whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. But in the early game, can help you draw a ton of cards to get towards your combo pieces. Witch Enchanter, when it enters, destroy target artifact or enchantment. On the backside, just a bad planes. Great card. I love it in almost every deck, but in this deck, you can do your Persist combo stuff with this and destroy something. Or if you don't have the Persist combo going and you just have the Carrier of Twilight in play, you play this, you sacrifice it, it comes back with a -1/-1 counter, so it's a 1/1, but you still get to destroy something, which is great. Woe Strider enters and makes a goat. Sacrifice it with a creature to scry 1, and you can escape it. Yawgmoth Thran Physician is 4 mana for a 2/4 pro humans. Pay a life, sacrifice another creature, put a -1/- counter up to one target creature and draw a card. It's another sacrifice outlet, and then you can also pay black, discard a card if proliferate. Not something we really care about doing, but it's another sacrifice outlet that draws you cards and helps you draw into your sacrifice outlets that don't make you pay life. Zulaport Cutthroat, whenever it or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Bojuka Bog, you're only playing 2 colors. You can afford to place in tap lands and exile a player's graveyard. Good if you're playing against like a lot of Reanimator decks. And then Phyrexian Tower is a sacrifice outlet on a land, which ramps you into getting your spells out sooner. Those are all the cards that I would include if I was going to build an Eirdu, Carrier of Dawn, Isilu, Carrier of Twilight Commander deck. I do have a Moxfield list in the description as a starting point for your list. If you'd like to have a say in the videos that I make, my YouTube members get that say. You can join the membership program down below. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and may your top decks be ever in your favor. Thank you.